Andy, it's a midweek. I've got stories to tell, I guess. I, you know, I, I'm kind of struggling. I thought I knew where I was going to go, Andy, but I don't know where I'm going right now.
It's the middle of the month. It's the middle of the week. We've got the holidays coming at us with, two headlights on. Like it's time to sort of like disconnect from things. So it's okay if you'll disconnect here. I mean, it's midweek. I know we're doing our NFL top five. I'm excited to talk a little about our top five and some of the great and really awful games coming up this weekend. And I know you alluded, I think, to one of the stories we're going to talk. I'm really like curious here about this dog story because I've got my two
Oh
dogs
yeah.
wrapped up by my feet. Dave, we can go in any direction you want this morning.
All right. So Andy, I know our three topics, and I just it's like usually I like to do like a morning quip or whatever.
You do, and I enjoy them, Dave. America enjoys them. America's
It's
here for your
rain.
quips.
It's raining outside. It's just a kind of a dreary day. And then what's happening is like if this was like 30 degrees cooler, we'd be flooded with snow. But
Yeah.
yet here in North Carolina, it only snows in the mountains. Very rarely will we get it down here in Charlotte. But man, we're so close. We're so close.
See, I
You
have
know,
to like I don't want that bullshit, Dave. I'll take I hate the rain, but I'm not ready for snow. Like we can have snow. Like we wake up on Christmas morning and there's snow outside. It's like, all right, you can have today's snow. You can have Christmas Day today. Then get the hell out of here. Like I don't want to shovel you. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to clean my dogs up after walking them in you. I don't need your snow. So I have to hold the line,
no,
weather. Hold the line.
don't get me wrong. I don't want like snow year round and like these 2 foot things like that lake effect snow out of Lake Erie and all that other stuff. I don't want that garbage, but I do want just a little bit. Enough that I could make a snowball. Maybe, do you want to build a snowman? I mean, I could do that too. So, um,
From the
but
guy who's lived in Florida and North Carolina for the last decade of his life. Dave, nobody wants your snow. If they do, they're up north. We've got things to talk about besides your longing for white fluff and the mess that comes with it. Where are you taking us on this December 11th, 2024?
all right. So the options are, Andy, we talk about NFL and we get into the how like dreadful that Monday night football game was.
Glorious. Glorious.
We could also talk about the MCU. There's some pretty cool news coming out of that
Yeah.
place. Some of the things there. Or maybe we start with my dog story, Andy. And
Let me
so
hear about I want to hear about the dogs. That's honestly the most important thing here, I think.
if anybody's really paying attention and watches our video podcast, you'll notice I have a different background here. And the reason I'm in a different background is because I'm in a different room because I don't want to wake up a new puppy that we have. And so, how did we get this puppy? Would you mind, Dave? So, my son, who last year as a senior in college, decided just like he didn't have enough to worry about, like graduating and finding a job and all this stuff. He wanted to care for a puppy. And so he got himself, I think it was a German, or not, I'm sorry, an Australian Shepherd mix kind of dog. Really cute and everything, bad as can be. But, they're puppies. Like they're going to pee and poop places. They're going
What they
to
do.
chew up stuff. Anyway, so he he worked through it. Like he worked through it, and when he came to visit, he would always bring the dog. And we have a dog at home too. Only one dog and two cats. We used to have two dogs. We used to be a two-dog house. But then when one of our last ones passed away, we just stuck with the one, right? And we got cats instead. But when my son's dog would come visit, it was like my dog got really like playful, excited, and wasn't just sleeping on the couch all day long, and had a good time. And so it got me thinking. I was like, man, it might be good to give him a buddy. Like I was thinking, I was like, it'd be nice to have a buddy for
Yeah.
Ripken, our dog. Um, and so that goes along for a little bit of time, and then my daughter, it's like she's a senior in high school, getting ready to go to college. She's like, you know what? I really would love a dog. Like so. It just kind of look, Annie, you don't have girls, but my girls get whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
is true. Like
I couldn't
I
handle it, Dave. I couldn't handle being a girl dad. I would be a complete like pushover.
I am, and I am a complete pushover. So my daughter says, "Hey, like I'd like a dog," and so of course this is like feeding into me. I'm like, "Oh, of course, let's get one." And my wife's like, "You didn't want the last dog, and I'm gonna be the one taking care of it because you guys all go away." And my wife works at home large parts of the day, so she's like, "I'm gonna be caring for this puppy, and like it's gonna be on me. And I don't want dogs, I want cats, and all this other stuff." And so we beat her down though. We broke her down.
Glad you
And
didn't beat her down,
so
Dave.
yeah, I guess that's true. We don't want to be beat. So we decided like at the last my daughter, of course, again, and Andy, it's like car shopping. You don't go looking for cars. You ultimately buy a car.
Yeah,
It's, you don't go looking for pets. You ultimately get a pet. And so my daughter is flipping through all these apps and all these websites, and she's found a an Australian Shepherd dog as well. And we thought we were in line to get it on Monday. I think I'd even mentioned it on Monday.
yeah.
But then there was something came up with the person. So then we were going to get it yesterday, and then something else came up with the person. And I'm beginning to wonder, I'm like, this is like we keep getting excuses. Maybe the person doesn't want to give up the dog,
Yeah.
and that which is fine, the just whatever. But that wasn't good enough for my daughter. So she founds another place. And within 30 minutes we're heading to this person's house to pick up this dog. And at first I was a little bit like, well, maybe do we really need a dog? And then you see this dog and you're like, oh
You
my
can't
God.
resist. You can't
You
resist.
can't resist. And so last night we got a dog, Andy. And of course he's super cute, running around, trying to get familiarized with everything. He is, doing a little puddles here and there, as all dogs do. But it's been that's my dog story, Andy. So we got a dog, and I'm trying not to wake him up this morning.
So
So
is he? He's a pup. He's a
he's
still.
8 weeks. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
he's definitely, yeah. So
I love it, man. Like the mess you have to deal with is so exhausting. And
it
I've
is.
got two girls, Dave. My oldest is 12 years old, and she's starting to leak a little bit as dogs do when they get on the other side of the hill. And so it's part of loving these little creatures. They bring you so much joy and happiness, and they're so great. And like you're miserable cleaning up pee and teach them how to where you want them to poo, and they're biting
Yeah.
at furniture and they do all these things that drive you crazy, but then you just like you pet them, you hold them, you see the look in their eyes, they curl up by your feet, and you're like I love this little creature. They're so good. So we have two dogs and a cat here in our home, and like I love having pets. I think my wife would be fine if we didn't have pets, but like I love these little things, and yeah, I'm happy for you guys. I'm glad you guys indulge. I love that you're indulging your eldest daughter who's getting ready to go to college. Like here we're gonna get a dog for you. We're gonna inherit this 15-year life,
Exactly.
in our home while you're here for another, 6 months. I love how our kids convince us to do things that make zero sense.
It makes zero sense, Andy. It makes zero sense. Andy, I never had dogs like pets growing up. We didn't have my dad grew up on a farm and he had two dogs, but they were outside dogs. They
Yeah,
had a shed outside and they were chained to the shed. We didn't really do much with those dogs, and though I always knew, we never had a dog, and so. My wife's family though did have dogs, and she always, she got one while she was in flight school. And I was like, really, you're gonna get a dog in flight school?
yeah.
And so, but again, that dog was great and moved on. Actually, that dog was fucking awful, Andy. I like when he was a Siberian Husky and beautiful dog, Frank. We called him Frank because he had blue eyes, Frank Sinatra. But there was a time I came home from work, trying to leave. I was leaving Fort Carson, so I was getting my house in order to leave. I come home, there's water gushing down from the ceiling, and I'm like, "What the hell happened?" What He had chewed off the valve to the toilet upstairs, and so so all this water was pouring down
Oh
from the,
man.
from the ceiling. It was awful. So yeah, that was my dog. Also ate a huge box of Toblerone candy. Andy, I think it's a myth that if you eat chocolate as a dog, you're gonna die, because this dog ate a whole like a one of those huge bricks of Toblerone candy, and he survived another 10 years. So
So you think it's just a lie to keep our dogs away from our chocolate?
yeah, I think so. I think it's a thing from the chocolate industry. So all right, Andy, let's switch to NFL. Let's go to NFL.
All right, let's do it.
Um,
Well, hey,
um,
but I'm just also I'm happy for you guys to get the dog. I appreciate you sharing this
well,
story with
thanks.
us.
Yeah, thanks, man. Next week, let's see how my patience is next week when the dog is still like, why can't you get this pee right? All this other stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Um, Andy, NFL, did you watch the Monday night game? Probably
I
not.
didn't, Dave. I was traveling. I was really tired. To be honest, I forgot it was on until late, and then I caught the highlights of it. And I'm not gonna lie, like I had a big, as we used to say in the army, a big shit-eating grin on my face
Oh my
for a
God.
long time, just laughing at the Cowboys' continued endless misery.
Did you see this like Simpsons simulcast thing
I
that they
didn't.
did?
I didn't. I haven't seen that. I'm really curious about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I only caught glimpses of it too. Like, I'm not sure what all the gimmicky. They have the slime, the Nickelodeon slime game too. Like,
Yeah,
I think it's like one of the playoff games or one of the games in this month or something where they simulcast it on Nickelodeon, and when somebody scores a touchdown, something happens. Like, they put
yeah,
all
the
these
slime and
graphics
all that. Yeah,
on.
that I've
Yeah,
seen. That I've seen.
I'm not sure I get the gimmicks and stuff, but Andy, what I was glad about is that the Cowboys lost because there was some belief that if the Cowboys won out the rest of the year, that they could make the playoffs.
No.
I wanted to just make that very clear to everybody. There was no chance the Cowboys were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're just not a good football team. Cooper Rush is like he's a good backup, but he's like if you want him to play the whole season out, it's just not going to happen, guys. And
He's definitely a
and
backup.
yeah, he's definitely a backup. And look, Cincinnati is also not like everyone's like, oh, this is the greatest team to ever be 5-8 or whatever. They fucking suck too. Like their defense couldn't stop the Cowboys and Joe Burrow. Like I get it, he's got him and Jamar Chase are putting up a lot of points, but I just don't like it, Andy. So
Yeah, the Cowboys stink. I think we know this now. Like they're done. But there's some other like interesting games coming up, Dave. I mean, I'll tell you one. The Cowboys are playing football this weekend, Dave. Let me say, I was looking at this game. So it's the Cowboys Panthers this weekend, and like I think the Panthers can win the game.
the Panthers are favored in that game they're favored in the game for the first time since 2022. So Andy, and again, it's against the Cowboys. So
Yeah,
good times.
yeah,
I think they can win that game too. The Panthers are playing really good football right now. They should have beat the Eagles. They should have. They had a pass. I mean, Xavier Legette dropped the pass, and it was a tough pass. I'm not going to say it was in his hands and he just muffed it. He kind of caught it, but then it dropped and hit the ground a little bit. It was a tough catch, but they beat the Eagles there on that play. It was because 30 seconds left in the game and everyone would be then ruining the Eagles. But yeah, good matchup this weekend with Air. Good games all around. You guys have got another good matchup with the Bills this weekend, Andy.
yeah. I mean, a big game against the Bills, Dave. Like I said last week, I said another one. I think like Detroit's got their hands full with this game. I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it off. The Bills are hot. I think they're pissed off coming out of the LA
Yeah.
game. I think it's gonna be a hard game for the Lions, who are still recovering from injuries. They've got some serious injuries on defense. I think the Lions can win the game. I mean, the Lions are I think potentially the best team in the NFL still, but Buffalo's really good. It's going to be a hard matchup for sure. Some people were talking about the fact that they scored so many points because the Rams' defense is abysmal. Detroit's is not, but they're still good. I mean, they're still a good team. So I don't see this being another record-setting type game. I don't think Josh Allen's getting 6 touchdowns, but I think it's going to be a slugfest of two teams that could see themselves again, in New Orleans here because they both have the potential to do that. So it's exciting. Dave, there's another sort of shit game this weekend as the Jets go to Jacksonville to play in a battle of 3 and 10 teams. And I mean, look, the Jets should win that game. Mac Jones
Yeah.
is nobody's starting quarterback, but man, I will love it if Doug Peterson can squeeze a win out and further humiliate the abysmal New York Jets.
I mean, if you're like, what's your motivation as Aaron Rodgers right now? Be like, to go out and actually play like strong football. I mean, don't you think he's just trying to get like? I was trying to think about this the other day. It's like he's at practices. Do you think he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna work through my throws? Like, I
I
just
think it's
can't
just
imagine
pride.
this
I mean,
guy.
you don't want to go out looking like absolute shit,
It's too late for that.
Yeah, but I think there's got to be some level of pride because in his mind he still thinks he's good. He still thinks
I
still
don't
thinks
believe
he's
that.
Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's like given up on the fact that he thinks he's God's gift, not just to football, but maybe to Earth. So I
I
don't.
don't believe it. I think he thinks he sucks. I mean, he's got to suck. I mean, he's
He's
got to
got to
know he
suck.
sucks, right? Don't you think he's got to know?
I don't think he knows.
Okay.
I don't think he knows.
All right. Andy, let's do our top five. Probably not a lot of changes. Where are you going with your top five here,
Yeah,
Andy?
so you're right. Not a lot of change. The the big change is in the number five spot. So I wrestled. I kind of looked at it. I looked at. I've got chunks of teams here, right? So my top three, I think any of them could be one, two, or three. And I think this weekend I'll kind of talk to it a little bit. So we've got Philly, Buffalo, and Detroit in that order right now. I'm holding that as one, two, and three. But like I don't know. I mean, Philly's got a big game against Pittsburgh this weekend. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm excited about that. So then I've got Kansas City sort of at a solid four. Like I think they're just sitting there between another like chunk of teams, the same ones we've been talking about. I think Washington, Baltimore, and Green Bay could all be number five. Last week I had Green Bay in there, and I think they could make that case. But I think it's got to be Pittsburgh. Like I was like not confident Pittsburgh was really a good team, but week in and week out they keep telling me no, we are like an actual contender. Like we are a good team, and I think they are. So I think you've got two matchups of top five teams this weekend as Philly plays Pittsburgh and Buffalo plays Detroit. I think there's gonna be great football games, consequential football games, and potentially both are Super Bowl previews.
Yeah, let me, Andy, real quickly. Glad you brought up the Steelers. Their next 3 weeks are going to tell us what they're all about.
Yeah,
At Eagles, at Ravens versus Chiefs on Christmas Day.
yeah,
So like, and then they get the Bengals at the end of the season, probably resting people, I would imagine, on a lot of that. So it's going to tell us a lot for sure. Andy, I'm going to go. Look, I didn't like what I saw out of the Eagles last week, so I'm going to go with the Lions number one. I had to drop the Bills because again the defense scares me a little bit.
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Lions, Bills, Eagles, and then like Andy, Minnesota. I don't want to believe, but I think I have to believe at this point. And then I'm gonna go with the Steelers as well as number five. So Minnesota just keeps like doing what they're doing, and
Yeah.
maybe Sam Darnold, I can trust him. Maybe not though, but.
So did you take the Chiefs out of your top five? Is that what I heard?
uh, Yeah, yes, I took the Chiefs out of that top
Wow.
five.
Wow.
Look,
That's
I don't like the Chiefs. Like, I think they're winning by the skin of their teeth, Andy. I just don't. I'm not a big like. I get it. Patrick Mahomes is great. Andy Reid is great. Like, they didn't. They're not. They didn't score 20 points last week, Andy, and they needed a doink field goal to win. How many? Like, they've got 10 one-score wins this year, Andy.
yeah.
Like that's usually a recipe for that's when you're like we're beating the odds because nobody's this good. I just don't know. I don't like it. So yeah, they're out. They're out of my top five.
All right. That's a bold move. I mean, I commend you. It's a
I'm
bold
a
move.
bold guy. Who's
Yeah.
your bottom, Andy?
It remains the Giants right now, but again, you've got a matchup this weekend with your Cowboys and with the Panthers. It could be telling. And oh yeah, the Giants. Yeah. Oh yeah, the poor Giants. The Ravens are going to New York to play the Giants. Dave, I think that's going to be awful for New York. Like I think the Ravens are going to just like punch them in the face and keep punching them. So the Giants are still, I think, the worst team in
The
the
Ravens
NFL. I
are
think.
14-point favorites in that game.
Yeah, that might be. I mean, like they might blow that up. They might double that against the abysmal Giants. I mean, they really could. And there's another good game, with Tampa and the Chargers. Like
Oh yeah.
that's. I mean, there's some good football this weekend.
It's good December football, Andy, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
My bottom, I'm gonna stick with the Giants, but man, those the Bears looked really bad last weekend against the Niners. Really, I know they've won 4 games, but they've lost like 7 in a row or 6 in a row or
yeah,
something. It's bad.
yeah.
That new coach theory, like when you get a new coach, you get this energy. It clearly didn't work for the for the Bears. That's a bad team, and I don't think really going a lot of places. Carolina's up in it. The Vegas Raiders also awful. So,
Bad. Yeah.
all right, Andy, let's switch to other news, Andy.
All right,
Uh,
where are we going?
I mentioned the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
Um, they announced, was it over the weekend or early this week, that Chris Evans, Captain America or Johnny Storm,
yeah,
is going to return for the Avengers Doomsday series. Now, two questions here, Andy. Question number one, is Chris Evans doing that because he knows like his success as a movie actor is only going to be in Marvel movies because he can't do any other type of movies? That's question number one. And question number two is which character is he going to come in as?
yeah.
Is it going to be Johnny Storm like he was in Wolverine and Deadpool, or is he going to be the Cap?
Yeah, so I mean, look, one, like fans love these guys, right? Fans
Yeah.
love Robert Downey Jr. and fans love Chris Evans. You know, and Chris Hemsworth, you know, and
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, right? And Mark Ruffalo,
Who
like
doesn't
that
love
team of
Scarlet?
Avengers, like that's the Avengers, right? Who'd you say? What'd you say?
Who doesn't love Scarlet? I mean,
Well, yeah, that's fair. But you know, it's I mean, there's a like a lot of support. So for Marvel to bring them back again as they sort of course correct and say, hey, look, we're trying to bring back the glory days here. Like it makes sense to give fans some of what they want. And let's be honest, these guys want to get paid. They're going to get nice little handsome
yep.
checks for doing this, right? So they're not objecting. But look, when Chris Evans popped up in Deadpool and Wolverine, if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, like sorry, too late,
Sorry,
right?
spoiler alert.
Yeah,
The
spoiler,
six
right?
month old movie.
It was great. It was great. And his
It's
Johnny Storm,
awesome.
like showing up as like they teased him as Captain America, and then he's Johnny Storm. And you're like, oh, this is brilliant, right? This is just excellent. Like it was so fun. I don't think he's coming back as Johnny Storm. Like
Yeah.
that's done. So either he comes back as Captain America, or since the MCU is like they're opening up the multiverse, they're opening up chaos, right? He could come back as like Hydra, or
Yeah.
something like crazy. And I think like he plays a good villain. Like he's got a nice mischievous aspect to him as an actor. So I think come back any number of ways. I think the big thing is he's going to be there in a way that fans can like be excited about. People are going to have that moment when he's on the screen. It's gonna be like, whoa! People are going to really enjoy it. So I think it's sort of it's a lane in the sense like you shouldn't have to call back to these former actors, like keep moving forward. But at the same time, it's like we want to see these guys, and Chris Evans is so likable. Like we want to see him on the screen. So I'm looking forward to it. However they want to surprise us, I think there's going to be fun movies as they come back out.
I agree too, and I know like a lot of them said they signed like seven movie contracts when they did in the beginning.
Yeah,
And I know like Robert Downey Jr. was like, I'm never gonna come back to Marvel and all this other stuff. Yet when they back up the truck to the dump truck full of money to your house. I mean, it's hard to say no to that. And I
yeah,
think Downey took a really good take on it, coming back as Doomsday. I think that was I mean, I'm sorry, Doctor Doom. I thought that was great. I hadn't thought about what you mentioned. Maybe Chris Evans comes back as a villain. I mean, if he's in this multiverse type of thing, maybe
yeah.
he is. That would be an ultimate kicker there. But I do agree with you. I do think if he comes back and he's a good guy, he's going to be Captain America. I think that's a no-brainer. He's so iconic in the role, and I tend to think like I like Robert, like Mackie as the new Captain America, and I am
Yeah,
going to go see Captain America: Brave New World. I think it does look really good, but I think it's just going to be hard for him, like because Chris Evans was so iconic in that
yeah,
role.
yeah.
I think anybody filling those shoes would not have worked. And I think it's hard with that, like the Falcon piece of Captain America. I don't know. It just was it's hard. And
It is
so
hard. Yeah.
um I'm hopeful that that movie is going to do well. I think bringing Chris Evans back is probably the right thing to do for some of this. So
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
so I really like him too. I like Rob Mackie. I like his character.
Yep.
Falcon's not that cool, right? I mean, he's never been that cool. But so this sort of new Captain America. It's like a clunky character in a sense. Like I don't need the wings and everything, but he plays him well, and I
Yeah.
like that. So I think you have to look at him as like he's not trying to replace Chris Evans. He's a different character, right? He's a different guy, and I think you can enjoy that sense because they're not the same. He's not just like filling in for Chris Evans. So I think he's going to be fun. I think he's going to be fun as an Avenger. I'm curious to see what the role he plays with the team is going to be. Is he going to lead the Avengers? He could. Is he going to be? So we'll see. Like we'll see where he goes. but he's, you know, at the end of the day, he's not the beefed up superhero serum that the Captain America is supposed to be, right? He's more tech focused and just a really good American doing the right
Yeah.
thing. But it's gonna be fun, you know. It's gonna be fun. So I appreciate him in and on his own character, and we'll see what happens with Red Hulk and all this stuff. But yeah,
Right.
bring Chris Evans back. Let's see him how he plays. And look, you know, for Robert Downey Jr. saying he doesn't want to do this anymore. Like nobody wants to see you as Doctor Doolittle, Robert Downey Jr. Right? And he knows it.
Yeah.
Like he's
Right.
he's he's Tony Stark. Like he made himself. He brought his career back as Tony Stark. He'll always be Tony Stark to this generation. Right? Like just embrace who you are. You don't have to go out and like prove that. No, I'm a multi-dimensional actor. I can do
I know.
this and that.
I know.
Like sure you can, man. Sure you can. But look, we like you as this guy. Just be this guy. Get your paycheck. Give us what we want. We're all happy. I mean, you don't have to go out there and win a an Emmy or whatever award they give those guys. Like just enjoy it.
He did win an Oscar. I mean, he got his Oscar for Oppenheimer. Look, be done with it. Is it more? I guess that's a good question you bring up, Andy. Is it more important to be like this
Critically
well-versed and
acclaimed.
diversified actor, or do you want to like be iconic? And he is iconic
Yeah,
as you know as Stark, as Tony Stark. I mean, everyone loved he played that role to a T. He was exceptional in that role. Sometimes annoying in that role, but he was exceptional in that role. He played really well. So as an actor, do you want to I get it, you want to branch out and do all these other things, but man, that I'm sure that paycheck looks really good as playing Tony Stark, the character that everybody loves.
yeah,
Andy,
yeah.
one other thing I want to say before we wrap up today. I am loving Skeleton Crew, this Star Wars movie TV show on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Love to hear if anybody else is doing that because I think a lot of people are. It's really good. I mean, it's not your classic Star Wars movie or show, but man, it's worth the watch for anybody out there. So
Okay, yeah, I'll make note of that. And we're not watching as much as we were before. Maybe that's something I have to consume on my end here because you know if it's good Star Wars,
check it
it's good.
out. Check it out. It's different. It's fun. I think it's about more about space adventure than necessarily I don't know, your class it'd be interesting to get other people's takes on it. So
All right, all
all
right.
right, Andy, anything else you want to wrap up here on a Wednesday?
No, Dave, I'm excited for you and the dog. I'm excited for hearing where this goes the next couple of weeks. Good talk. Good NFL football coming up, starting with Thursday night, Dave. So we're in it, man. We're talking playoff scenarios. Ian Rappaport is constantly giving us updates on what's happening and with the playoffs. You know, who's doing what, who's got a chance, how do you clinch? This is it, man. This is the run up to the second season. You get in that second season, and whatever happens, happens. You know, doesn't matter. It's super exciting, and Detroit Lions are currently number one in the NFC, so I'm jazzed up.
There you go. There you go. Andy, maybe we want to talk, maybe we'll have news on Friday, but we may want to talk about Bill Belichick going to college. Uh,
Yes, no, it's not going to happen, but yes, we should talk about it.
so you're of the opinion it's not going to happen. Ian Rappaport seemed to think it was close. So,
I think it's there for him. But I think he wants to be in the NFL. He doesn't want to go to college. He doesn't want to go be Nick Saban. He wants to win a Super Bowl and prove that he led the New England Patriots to Super Bowl. That it was Bill Belichick's great mind. He wants to get back in the NFL, Dave. He wants that control. He wants that opportunity. He doesn't want to go be one more college quarterback coach. I really don't think he does. I love the rap. I love the updates. I love the inside scoop that we get. But no, Belichick wants. I don't know if the NFL wants Bill Belichick, you know. But if you're the Chicago Bears, maybe you're like, hey, let's get Bill Belichick. Let's bring him in here. Like our coaches suck. We hire crappy coaches. Let's bring in Belichick. Let's see.
okay. All
Let's see.
right. All right. Okay. Andy, let's wrap it up then for the day. And I guess I'll catch up with you on Friday.